There we go. Are we muted? Can you hear me? You know, my little icebreaker in my bathrobe is supposed to be really funny. We got a pretty small audience today, which is awesome. We get some one-on-one training. So thanks for coming, Michelle. Sarah has her camera turned off right now, and I'm doing what I do best and have two screens going at one time because, you know, we want to have fun. So there's Sarah. You know, as usual, I woke up late, but we're gonna think positive. Yeah, I'm Kimberly. I'm an international educator with Thermafuse, which is what probably brought you here today. I'm gonna teach a classic take on a shag using a few Thermafuse products, but also a modern razor bob, which has some shag elements to it as well. As a stylist myself, I'm going to teach you these simple, high impact, usable techniques to make more money in the salon faster, right? Especially right now, we're all getting really busy again. Okay, here's Sarah.
Hi, I think I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted. Can you hear me, Kimberly?
I can hear you.
Sweet, yay! So I am Sarah Briggs. I'm an educator as well with Thermafuse, Healthier Hair with Heat. And today I'm super excited to share with you a few quick, simple, highly impactful upstyling techniques. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. I've got a lot that I wanna show you. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is our consultations with our guests when they come in. And I know there's always the how do you part your hair, which is very important, but I like to get a little more in depth with them and talk to them, you know, how are you most comfortable wearing your hair? Because a lot of times, you know, we say, how do you like to wear your hair? You know, and maybe not what they like or what they see in a picture isn't necessarily how they're most comfortable. So I'll talk to them, you know, are you most comfortable when your hair is back away from your face? Are you more comfortable? Maybe you have a little more around your face, some little tendrils, you know. Are you more comfortable when your hair is soft and full and some volume? Or are you happier when your hair is a little bit tighter, more slicked back away from your face? So those are definitely some really good questions to talk to your clients about. And another thing that I think gets a little overlooked sometimes are, what is your client's face shape? What's their profile? Are they, you know, do they have a nice oval face? Or are they maybe a little more heart shaped where you want to kind of adjust the hairstyle? And with their profile, are they a little more convex? Do they kind of cave in here a little bit more? So where you would want to do something that would kind of fill that in and balance her out? Or is she a little more convex where she kind of rolls out in her features where you want to balance more on top? So those are some great questions to ask them, to talk to them about. So I'm going to jump right in first with a very simple chignon. I'm hoping you can see me well. So I've prepped my model today. She was very patient with me with a little one pass. This is our smoothing cream, but I also always use it every time I'm doing any kind of an iron style, whether it's smoothing her or I'm using it for some curl because it adds hold, and it also protects the hair from becoming frizzy throughout the day. So it really locks that style in and protects her. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off just by lifting right at her sides and just gathering her sides and pulling them back to the center back. And one thing I want to show you, she's got some finer hair. She's been through a lot with me. So underneath, in this section underneath here, I'm going to get that out of the way. I want to show you this before I forget. A great tip for clients that have maybe very fine hair, but they want something a little bit fuller. I've gone through the center section with my crimping iron just to add a little bit of girth to the hair, give it a little more solidity, a little more volume, but she still has all this smooth wave over top to hide it. So that's a little fun thing that I like to do. So I'm going to gather her back, bring her to the center back. And she told me today that she likes a little bit of something around her face. She doesn't like it pulled slicked right back. So I'm actually going to go. What I like to do is I like to kind of just let that kind of hang a little loose, and I'll take my fingers and I'll actually kind of not really pinch it, but just kind of roll some of the hair out with my thumb and 2 fingers. So I'm just gonna kind of roll some of those little pieces out. And what that does is it just kind of gives a nice natural fall to those pieces, opposed to going through and really just kind of taking a piece out. Then you've got this one hunk of hair, whereas this just kind of, it just brings some nice softness to those little tendrils. I want to leave a little more out, I think. There we go. I'm going to bring all of this back. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to kind of roll some pieces out. And then if you ever feel like you've taken too much, you can just kind of gather those back and place them back in your hand. Okay, come back to this side. Just going to bring this down smooth, and I don't want to catch any hair from this underneath section. I want to keep that nice and clean, nice and smooth. I'm going to gather that in a little clear elastic, and I'm attaching it right below where her occipital bone would be, right underneath that curve of her head. I'm going to do a couple twists. The nice thing with these clear bands, they're great because they're very easy to hide, but it takes a lot to get them tight. So what I'll do is I'll actually put my finger in, twist it several times, and that kind of tightens it up without having to wrap and wrap and wrap a lot. Good, so we've got that. And now I'm just going to take and smooth it down a little bit. I want to add a little fullness here. So I'm going to take and I'm going to pinch, and I'm going to pull where I want to see fullness. So I want to see a little fullness through the curve of her head. So that's where I'm going to pinch, and I'm going to kind of pull some of these pieces out to give that soft, kind of romantic look. So I like to do the pinch and pull where I want to see the fullness. If I started down here and I pinched and pulled here, that's where you're going to see that fullness. So keep that in mind. You know, you're not just kind of going randomly. You really want to think about where you want to see these pieces. Pinch and pull. So I'm going to gather the underneath, and I'm going to gather the top and the underneath together into a ponytail. So that becomes one solid ponytail. Pull out kind of tight. And I want this to be nice and smooth. So what I'll do here is I'll actually take a little bit of my texture taffy just to create a little bit of smoothness, but I don't want it too slippery. That's why the tack is great. It just gives a little smoothness, but a little hold and a little texture. I want to keep her very pliable. I'm going to bring that up a little bit tighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I have an elastic with two bobby pins attached. I want this to be nice and smooth going up. And I'll actually clip that with a clip right out of my way, keep it nice and clean. And I'm gonna go in vertically, and then I'm going to push down. So the bobby pin's gonna go in straight right across her scalp. And then I'm gonna go in at an angle to really catch that hair and create some really good hold. So it's gonna go in, straight right along the scalp, and then push down to catch that hair. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side with the other band. I'm gonna go scratch it right across the scalp and then push down out of vertical. So what's happening, the two pins are going in straight and then they're locking together when they're both set in there. And that's creating a really good firm base and a locking mechanism. So now what this has done, you know, if she had some thicker hair, some more volume, I could go even a little higher up, but she's good right here, about 1/4 of an inch. So when I drop this down, now we have this instant volume. And what I'm gonna do, because she's a little on the finer side, even though I did add some of that crimp through the center section here, I'm gonna add a little bit of tease. I'm just gonna tease out the bottom a little. And this is gonna create a cushion underneath so you don't get any bare spots showing through when we fold this under for our chignon. There we go. And then we're just gonna smooth the top so it's nice and clean. And then I'm going to attach the ends in a hairband. And that's just gonna hold everything together. I want that nice and clean on the sides. I don't want to see any of that tease through. I'm going to take a band, and this time it doesn't matter if it's a little black band. I'm going to secure the ends. And I'm going to leave it like a little bit of a loop there. That's going to serve as almost an anchor for my bobby pin. It's going to give something for my bobby pin to really catch on. So now I'm just going to roll that up. And I'm going to take my bobby pin and I'm going to feed it through that band. And now that she's secured, we can really kind of work this chignon where we want her to be. Can you see how simple, easy that is? I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to hold it right where I want to pin it. So I wouldn't just like hold it here and then pin it up here. You really want to pin it where you're holding it because you already know that's a good anchoring point. I'm going to feed that in, anchor it right into the bottom. And on the other side and do the same thing. And what I'm doing too is I'm actually kind of weaving it in there because we have that texture from the crimping iron and the tease in there. I can actually come through and I can weave my bobby pin in and then catch it at the scalp and then it just disappears. So you don't see any of those bobby pins. And kind of balance it out. I'll put one more underneath for good faith, even though she really doesn't need too much under there. So what do you think? Pretty simple, easy to do. We can do this? Yeah, absolutely. You know, if I wanted to, I could kind of pull a little more out, but can you see the reason why I went through and pulled the volume ahead of time instead of waiting till this is all done? Because now she's all secure. If I go in and I start pulling too much, there's not a lot to pull from because there's a ponytail in there, the pins are in there, so it'll make it a little messier. There we go. We got one. Easy to do. Awesome. Kimberly's giving me the thumbs up. So, whew, I'm hot today. I'm in upstate New York, and it's like 57 degrees here. And for us, it's summertime. Like, there's no joke people running around in shorts and t-shirts right now, thinking it's summer. It's great. But it's warm in here. All right, so this girl we're gonna do, she's gonna be a little bit more of like a boho, soft sheep, but it's gonna be really simple, easy to do. The nice thing with these techniques, you know, like Kimberly said, things are starting to open up more. People wanna go out. They're tired of doing their own hair at home. They're, you know, even though they've been home watching YouTube how-to tutorials, you know, they kind of want us to just pamper them, to take care of them. So it's a great opportunity for us, you know, after they've had their service and they're saying, hey, I'm going out today. I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to go party. Like, hey, I got extra 15 minutes. Let's do this fun up style. So it's a little extra money in your pocket. It's a great added service for them, and they're super stoked. And it only takes us a few minutes because really we've already done the work. We've blown dried their hair. We've done whatever, you know, curling iron or smoothed them out. So it's really just a matter of taking an extra 15 minutes and doing something really fun for them. So, okay. So this one, we're gonna come in. I usually, you know, with my mannequins, it's a little bit harder. So I'll kind of put my finger on her nose and travel back. So that's the center of the back. And I'm just gonna kind of follow that head shape and lift it a little. And where it wants to naturally lift, that's where I'm gonna gather. Just a little section. Right to about the top of her occipital bone is where I'm gonna get. We're at a good angle here. This one's fun. I really have fun with this one. So I'm just gonna go in with my little elastic, create a pony. I'm gonna give her a few twists. Pull it tight, and I want to put a little extra texture in her hair as well. So I'm going to use more of my tack. If you can't tell, this is my favorite product. Just going to emulsify good in my hands. And I might not be able to see on the camera, but it actually makes all these fun little wefts going through. It kind of spiders into the hair. A little texture, so again, I'm gonna start creating some texture through here. I'm gonna pull some volume, and I'm gonna take a section from each side, and I'm just gonna let it come naturally. I'm not really gonna force a section there. I'll take one from the other side. And I think I want her to have a few of those little tendrils as well. So I'm just going to massage those out. Just to keep her super soft, kind of boho-y. I've noticed a lot of, you know, my brides are starting to come in for consultations and they're showing me really soft, flowy pictures. So this is one of those really great go-to styles for that. Okay. Let's move this back into my hand. And I'm going to create another ponytail right below the band of the first ponytail. Hold on to that. I'll go in with my elastic. I'm gonna I like to like grab and pinch with the elastic and then wrap it around. I find the more times I let go of the section of the hair, the messier it can become. So the more I can keep control of that, the better. So I'm going to bring my palm up, insert 2 fingers up through that second ponytail, and I'm going to flip down. So now my palm is facing down. And with those 2 little fingers, I'm going to pinch that first ponytail, and I'm going to pull it through. Did we get that? Did you see that well? I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to tighten her up a little, and then I'll pull some pieces to keep her loose. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take another section from each side. Bring it back. And brush them smooth. I like to keep things fairly smooth and neat to start with, because you can always go in and mess it up and make it messy. What you can't do is start with something messy and then smooth it out. It doesn't work. I've tried. I've been in those situations, so it doesn't work. I'm gonna take a few of these. I want her really tendril-y, very flowy. Is that even a word, tendril-y? I made it up. It is today. It's a good word for today. All right, I want to make sure I don't get any of that ponytail that's underneath caught up in there. I'm going to go in with another elastic. I'm going to create another ponytail again, right beneath the last ponytail. I've got it between my little pinchers. I'm going to pinch those 2 together, hold them, and then I'm going to pull the elastic and the hair through the elastic. Give it a few twists. And now this time I'm going to go the opposite direction. So the first one I went in with my palms up and turned it down with my right hand. This one I'm going to go in palm up with my left hand and turn my palm down. And I'm going to pick up what's now those 2 ponytails underneath. I'm going to grab them with my 2 little pincher fingers, pull them up through and out. Tighten it up. And give a little bit of pull, a little texture in the back. And I haven't used any pins yet so far, which is nice. It's so simple. The clients, they understand that we need to use a ton of pins sometimes, but those instances where we don't have to use, they love it. They're so thankful that all they have to do is get those little rubber bands out. So keep that in mind. If you can get away with a technique that doesn't require a ton of pins, go for it. So now I'm going to go to my last section, split that in half, bring it over that ponytail, and smooth it a little bit more. And then I'm going to create my last ponytail. Got my elastic, pinch it, pull the hair through. Line that in. And pull it a little bit tighter. And now I'm gonna go the opposite way of the way we just went. So the first one, we went towards me. The second one, we went away. And this one, we're gonna go back towards me again with my right hand. Sometimes it's easy just to, remember right hand, left, left hand, right. Then you're going back and forth. Put my little bunny ears. I'm gonna twist down, grab that last ponytail, pull it through, and tighten it up a little, and keep it a little bit closer to the base of her neck, and then loosen up. So from here, you can either, you can do some fun stuff with her ends, or if you wanted to, you could go in and make this a little bit fancier and make it more of a messy chignon. So I'll go and do the same thing I did with our last girl. I'll fasten her ends with an elastic, roll it up, and just leave that little loop there instead of leaving the ends out. It just kind of, not only does it create like a nice anchoring point for your hairpins, it's already smoothing the ends up in the direction you want to go, so it's a little less you have to deal with at the end. We'll just roll it up. Take a bobby pin, catch that elastic through the side, scrape that along the scalp, and maybe do one on the other side. Balance her out. What do you think? Another fun, simple, how long did that take? Not very long, a few minutes, and that's with me talking in between. So it's just a fun, like I said, another way to add to your ticket at the end of the day. You always want to think, what can I do to build up my book, build up my client loyalty? They can come to you for anything and everything hair related, then that's a plus. If they know, all right, I'm going to go out tonight, I already have an appointment with my hairstylist, I'm sure she can do something with it in a few minutes, then that's great. And then it's a little extra money in your pocket at the end of the day, because right now, don't we all need a little bit of that? All right, now we're going to go to a really fun one. I really like this, and I really love her hair. This is my dream hair someday. Although I'm 5'2", so this might be a little too long for me. Might make me look like I'm 4'2". That's this long of hair. Again, consultation. What works best for your client versus what they want, which actually looks good on them. Always having a consultation. So this, I like to refer to, it's kind of a very mermaidy. Let me see if I can bring this down. She's got a lot of length. I want you to see everything that we're going to do. So this is a very textured, very kind of mermaidy look. I'm really excited to show you. So again with her, I'm going to use a little bit of my Tap favorite product. And I'm actually, because her hair is already so long and she's got a lot of texture in there, I want to add a little slip to her hair as well. So I'm going to add our Heat Smart Serum Dry Oil. Yes, my bottle has been well loved. Use it constantly. Going to cocktail those together. So there's still some tack to it. There's still some texture, but there's just a little more slip to the hair. And run that through. And this one's really fun. If your client has hair this long, it will take more than 15 minutes. Guaranteed. But typical client, their hair isn't quite this long. I just love all the drama of it. I like to tap her hair. Not weird or anything. All right, so for her, we're gonna kind of do that same thing. We're gonna kind of find where her hair naturally kind of wants to have the most fullness. And she, you know, she's a different mannequin and hers is up a little bit higher. So that's where we're gonna take her right here. So I want her to have a little more fullness up on top. Go in. And again, this one, there's really no need for hairpins with this one. I'm using mainly just elastic. If towards the end I want to adjust and pin a little bit, I can. But there's not a whole big need for them. Take my clear elastic, pinch that ponytail, pull it through, do a few wraps with my finger, tighten it up. Then I'm actually going to start here with my bunny ears. Is it better if I turn her a little more like this? All right, my little bunny ears. Gonna pull it through. So I'm instantly creating some texture through the top. Tighten this up. I'm gonna pull some volume. I'm gonna pinch and pull. This is fun. This is like a really good for like a very high impact, very dramatic look, but still very soft and very wearable for the clients. So now I'm going to take pieces right at her hairline. I'm going to pull those back. I'm going to pull them back smooth. And again, this is similar to what we just did, but with a little bit of a twist, literally and figuratively. I just thought of that. Right. I'm going to go in with my elastic again. I'm going to pinch, pull the hair through. And normally when I'm doing this behind the chair, I like to stand directly behind my client. That way I can keep these, you know, right where I want them. I can keep it very symmetrical down the center. When I'm off to the side, I tend to kind of pull to that side. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. Kind of keep your body position where you want that hair to be. Same thing when you're doing a haircut. If you're standing right where you're cutting, that's where it's going to stay. Whereas if I'm standing off a little, it's going to tend to drag with me. All right, I'm going to make my little bunny ears again. Pull my ends through. Go up, pull it up tight. Create texture where I want to see it. And fullness. And add the next one. And try to keep them about the same density on either side. I know sometimes it's hard. I mean, I like to tell my clients each side of their head, they're sisters, not twins. You know, everyone's a little different. Some people are a little heavier on one side than the other. Right, she's got a little mouth here, just moved on her own. Another tip is whenever you're doing any kind of ponytail, I always like to keep a firm hold on it. So whether, you know, if I have to turn and do something or switch hands, I'm always keeping a hand right on there. So I'll comb and squeeze, comb, brush, squeeze. And then I'll take my elastic, go in, and I'm not going to let that go out of this hand until I've pinched and squeezed it with my other hand. That way I'm not disturbing what I've already smoothed or combed on the sides. Make sure you're not grabbing from underneath. You want it messy. You want a controlled chaos, as I like to say. Start smooth and then mess it up when you're done. Twist and pull. create some more texture. Can you see the shape that we're starting to make? Yeah, it's almost reminds me of this particular hair, kind of that Game of Thrones Daenerys hair. Is that her name, Daenerys? With the blonde dragon lady? Yes. It's a very kind of mermaidy, very first real kind of look. Something very soft. Make sure I don't have any of my bottom ponytail in there. So it's really simple. Can you see there's kind of a repetition with it. We're just creating a ponytail over the previous ponytail. This might be on. And once you practice this a few times and you get it down, I mean, it really will only take you a few minutes to do this on someone. But it looks like it took, when you're finished, it looks like it took maybe, an hour, like a full up to appointment. And it's not something that the client can really do effectively on themselves. They can try, but it's not going to be quite the same. I've been really trying to find styles lately and do things that clients can't really replicate on their own. Because I want them to come in and see me. Brush this, keep it clean. Go in with my little elastic, and you can see how pretty simple this is. Now, if someone had really fine hair, very thin hair, and they still wanted this very similar look, I would go in and just crimp it. Add some volume to it with the crimper all over. Or if they don't really like that look, another thing you could do if you have the extra time, take a little bit of the Boost spray in damp hair and blow dry some volume into that hair. Really over direct it with the blow dryer to get that volume in there, and then add some of our cleansing powder in through the root area to really kind of bulk her up a little bit. But I really I just love using the crimping iron sometimes, because nothing really gives it that extra bulk like that. Even if you go like I did with my first girl, and you just go through that section in between, get this out of the way, keep that little bottom section out of the way, and just crimp in between, it just creates that bulk. And we got another section. Now this, you could really go all the way down the entire ponytail with this if you wanted to. Once you got to the bottom, to the base, and there wasn't anything left on either side, you can just keep going and you'll have this long, really fun textured ponytail. Another one. And my elastic. Takes a few less passes down here. She's getting bulky. My bunny ears through. Keep it clean. Pull it through. It's almost like using a topsy-turvy. Is that what they were called back in the day? I had one when I was a kid. You use your little topsy-turvy for your ponytails. Very similar. Do another one. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing pretty good on time. Look at that. We've done 2 styles in just under about a half hour. little fan pinch. I know it's very repetitive. There's not a ton to expound on it because it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty repetitive. Make my little bunny ears, loop it through. Get my wrist exercises in. I'll pull it up tight here. So you really want, when you're doing this, you really want to kind of bring that rubber band up to the next rubber band. You want them to be fairly close, and then you can pull out some of the volume. Otherwise, what happens if you keep them too far apart, then you're going to start seeing the bands, and then you're going to start wanting to go in with pins. The less pins you have to use, the better. I'm going to do one more. Take my elastic. Take my little bunny ears. Pull it up tight to that previous elastic, and then create some volume by loosening it up. You know what? I think I'm going to do one more. So I'm feeling good. Get this ponytail out of the way. Split that underneath in half. Let it drop. You've got your two sections that meet in the center. Keep them neat. Then brush them out. Take your elastic, pinch, and then pull the hair through. I know it sounds simple, but sometimes those simple little things are what make the difference between a good hairstyle and a really phenomenal one. Bring my bunny ears through, pinch, pull, tighten that up. And then how fun is that? And you can see how you could actually go a few more times with this, but then you just have all this fun style. You could even, wrap it up if you wanted to once you got to the end and pin her, and you can just, there's a lot of fun things you can do with this. I've been having fun with this a lot. You can see that little rubber band there, so I'll just kind of scooch it down a little bit to hide it. And we just have this really fun textured style that's really pretty secure. I mean, she's not going anywhere, it's staying. So I've got one more, and this one's really fun. And I'm gonna show this on some long hair, and I'm gonna do it a little bit bulkier, a little bit bigger than maybe I would normally do it, just so you can really see the mechanics of it, and then you can kind of take it, make it your own, and do it a little bit differently at home. But I really want you to get the specific mechanics of it. I will show you another version of it. So this, it's like a diamond braid, but it's got these little facets, and I like to call them. So you can really, I did a little bit smaller, so it's a little more salon wearable than what I'm gonna do, but it's the exact same technique, the exact same mechanics, just on a smaller scale here. Woo. So what do you think? Are we learning some stuff so far? Are we good? Okay. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat bar. I can see it on the side of my screen, and I'll try to answer them. Just throw them out there. Or if you just want to say a hi, I'm here, that's fine too. So for her, I'm just kind of starting off with a basic half ponytail. And I want some hold, and I want to keep her nice and smooth. So again, I'm going to use my tack whip. So why do you twist the elastic around when I'm making a ponytail? So whenever I do a ponytail, especially, it's more so when I'm using these clear elastics, you see how much they stretch? Like that stretches a lot compared to the more solid black elastics. So if I didn't kind of go like this, it would take a lot of revolutions to get a tight ponytail in there. So by going like this, you can see it kind of shortens up the loop that my thumb is through. So it just saves a little extra time. It saves on some wrapping. So it's mainly just with the clear elastics that I do that. Nothing super technical. All right, so I'm gonna probably should have done one ponytail. Get that out of my way. Let me see. Let me put this up. Let me get her bottom hair out of our way. Put her in an elastic. She's got some thick hair. Okay. So for this type of diamond braid, I'm just going to split the ponytail in half. And you do the exact same mechanics that I'm doing, you would do on if you didn't do a ponytail, say you just wanted to add from the sides, but I just want to keep it super simple today. I know at some point we'd like to do a little more in-depth of a class would be fun, and then we'll really get into some of the I can't say that word, intricacies of some of these styles. I said it. Gene, oh, please. All right, so I'm gonna split this in half. Let me see if I can get a really good angle for you guys to see. So she's in half, and I'm gonna take a little piece right from the right side of the right side ponytail, and I can just let this one drop out of the way. I'm going to kind of hold that to the side with my two fingers and bring it underneath that ponytail. Can you see? Am I at a good angle? Okay, I'm gonna wrap that around. It's kind of like, it's almost like a theme today, my little bunny ears here, my little grabbers. I'm gonna pull that through my little pinchers, pull, and kind of bring it up tight. I'm gonna hold it with my right hand now. I'm gonna grab a little bit from the other side, the other ponytail. Smooth it in. Now I'm gonna use my right hand. So now my right hand has the two little bunny ears. Drop that ponytail over the end, wrap it around, and pull it through. And I like to pull it up to keep it tight. If I pull it down, it kind of makes it a little bit messier, but I want to keep it nice and clean. Get that so you can really see. So now I'm going to go from the right side of the ponytail. Just going to use my thumb to add another piece of hair to that center section. So this center section never goes away. You're always going to keep this in one of your hands. It never marries in to either of these sides. So we're going to create my little bunny ears. Let that ponytail hang over the top, wrap it around, pull it through. So you're creating, you can see the loop that it's created there. Pull it up tight. Now I wouldn't necessarily on a client use this big of sectioning, but I really want you to see what I'm doing and really get the hang of it. So I'm gonna add another piece from the opposite side now. So I'm always adding a piece from the side that I'm looping. So when I'm gonna loop around this left side, my left side, I'm gonna add a piece from the left side. And create my bunny ears. Bring it underneath, up and over, and through. And you'll start to see that little pattern going down the center. Add from the side, bunny ears, loop over, grab it, pull. I always want to just kind of keep it nice and tight, and I'll pull it straight up. Add from the other side again. Marry them together, create my little bunny ears. Bring it up and around, pull through. So it almost, when it's this large, it almost looks like you've got two braids running down the inside center with the loops coming around the side. That's what it reminds me of. And then marry those together. So again, this center section never goes anywhere. So it always stays in the center. I'm gonna grab, make your bunny ears, loop this around, pull, and bring it up tight. And grab center section. And again, like the other style, again, it's very repetitive. You're doing the same thing over and over, just switching sides. And grab my little bunny ears, wrap it around, and pull it through. So what happens is, as we're getting through to as we get a little bit further down, this section gets a little bit thicker, and that's what's kind of creating that diamond shape. It's starting skinny, it's getting thick, and then as we get to the bottom, it starts getting skinny again, and then you get that nice diamond shape. Make my little bunny ears, wrap this up and around, and pull through, again, pull it up tight. Make my little bunny ears, wrap it around, pull through. So you're making that loop and then pulling it up tight. Can you see the shape coming together now? But it's definitely like, I love doing the smaller, little more intricate ones. But this, doing the larger ones can be fun too, especially on some of like the younger girls where they really want to see it. Pull it up, pull it through, pull it up tight through the center. Smooth them together. Create my little bunny ears. Drop it down behind that ponytail, loop it up and around, and I'm pulling through. How are we on time? Oh, don't put on time. Woo! Feeling good. All right, bunny ears. Wrap it under, pull over, and pull up. Grab from the other side, and then you can see now we're starting to get a little bit skinnier down here. We're going to start taking kind of skinnier sections, so it's going to start narrowing out towards the bottom to create that diamond. Add my bunny ears underneath, pull it up and through, making it tight. Bunny ears, up, over, pull tight. Do we have that? Think we got that? You can do that? Definitely. I know Kimberly says she can do it. Of course Kimberly can do it. Bunny ears, wrap it around, pull up, over, and pull tight. So another fun kind of twist you could add to this is when you get to about here, you can start leaving some pieces out, and then you kind of get that waterfall effect on the sides. So, but get this down first, perfect it, and then start adding your own twist to it. I'm going to do one more. Take my little bunny ears, wrap and pull over. And sometimes if I really want to see, like when I'm doing this in the salon and I really want to see that distinct diamond braid, sometimes I'll actually kind of count how many times I've gone down so I can keep it even. So say I'm doing a smaller one, I may count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to like that thickest band. You'll see where it gets really thick there. And then I'll keep track in my mind. All right, I only want to go 6 more down. So I'll start skinnying out this piece to start making it smaller and to bring it into that braid. Does that make sense? Or did I just like make it more confusing? I have to do that sometimes. All right, I'm gonna do one more. You wanna keep her even, just so you can see how I would tie this off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this center piece, I'm gonna wrap it underneath, bring it up and over, almost like I'm doing a figure 8 now. So I've brought that up from behind over. I'm going to bring it behind the other side, pull it tight, wrap it around, and wrap around that tail a few times. I'm going to go in with a clear elastic, and I'm going to pinch it, just that one side. I'm going to pinch, holding that little tail, pull it through. She's got long hair. No. Twist it a few times, save us a little time. I'm unwrapping. Pull it through. Tighten her up. Smooth out her ends. And then there you go. What do you think? Simple mechanics, simple techniques, but look at the impact that it makes. It looks like something that would take, you know, weaving and 4 different hands here and 5 hands there to hold this piece and that piece, when really it's just a simple body mechanics. What do you think? We got that good? Look at that, I'm on time. I love it. Do I have any questions before we jump over to Kimberly? I'm so excited for you guys to see Kimberly's cutting techniques. She's freaking fantastic, and I always learn something when I'm watching her. She just has a really awesome way about her. So any questions? No? All right. If you do think of some questions, you can always shoot me a message at the end. We'll put up our contact info. You know, definitely when you're doing these, tag us. I'll put our tags in there for Instagram. Practice these techniques, do it. I'd love to see them once you've done them. Just tag at Sarah Esbriggs Hair on Instagram. I'll put it in our little message thing so everybody can see. All right, guys, have fun watching Kimberly. Are you coming up, Kimberly, or is it still me? There she is. I will mute myself now. I think you have to unmute yourself, Kimberly. We can't hear you.
Unmute. Okay, well, we're still learning. I had to make myself the host. I don't know. So we're gonna talk about our shag. Shags are pretty popular right now, and I know we all learned how to cut them, but this is sure for us on how to cut the shag, and maybe a little bit of fun when we get into our razor bob. Oh, I have one more version of this. So of course I love this because, you know, I'm an 80s girl, right? But apparently we're old and out of touch. So this is what the haircut looks like with the middle. We know we've got basically a middle or offset part with our shag. Let me grab my other doll head. I'm in the basement, so if you hear elephants going by, that's my kids. Okay, oh my gosh, that is the wrong stand. Ever used the wrong stand? Yes, we all have, and we don't need to do that. Okay, here we go. Here's my doll head. First, I'm going to talk about partings because shags are super fun and we love them, but I think we're a little bit afraid, or we think they're not for everybody because sometimes our guests have or thinner hair. And so what we're going to talk about is partings in the beginning, just so that we can make this work on any hair density. Like Sarah was talking about with the consultation, that's really important. We got to ask them how they wear their hair, if they pull their hair up. You know, yeah, my client wants a shag, but she looks like hell with bangs. So we're going to have to do something different. Did I say that? That's probably not very polite. Maybe she wants to try something a little bit different, but we're going to talk to her first. So here's our sectioning. This is where we test to see where her layers are going to go. So this is her top section. And it's going to be everything above the occipital bone. Okay. And for now, we're just parting at it. Okay, then our next section is going to be all around above and to the bottom of the occipital bone. When I first graduated from beauty school, you know, I was all hyped and would go to a lot of classes. And everyone was talking about this 3-layered haircut. They're asking for the 3-layered haircut. And in the classes, they would make fun of it. But I think, you know, when I was putting together the material for this class, I think I figured it out. The clients are seeing us do stuff like this. They're seeing us section out the hair. They don't know that we took 17 partings to get their hair, or maybe one. You know, I've learned shag haircuts with 1 parting. Let's pull everything up on top of your head and shave it off. I don't know. But the clients, they see us doing these little sectioning techniques, and to them, this might look like 3 layers. So anyway, that's my fun fact. Okay, so these are our 3 sections we're going to be working with on our haircut today. Pretty simple. All right, we can see the density on the bottom. What we're going to test is the density. On the bottom, we can barely see the comb through it. So we can layer the bottom section even however we want. But when we move into the front, see how, come on now, lady, listen to me. See how it's a little bit thinner and you can see the comb through these front pieces? That means we're going to need some of this to be dropping down into her density. We can't cut it all off. And so that's what this section is for, is to check our clients to see how much hair they have to work with. We don't leave those little strings on the bottom. Now, some people might want something a little bit more aggressive with shorter layers on top and strings on the bottom. And then you would do that on purpose. But today we're not going to do that. We're going to leave her with some fullness on the bottom. We're going to drop that one down. Oh, I need scissors, don't I? Okay, so we have scissors now. So I'm going to cut a shag or any all over layered haircut. I'm going to cut the same way I cut a pixie. I'm going to determine the length in the front before I cut anything else. So we're going to determine her fringe before we start anything else. Oh, she's got such cowlicks in the front. Gotta love a doll head, right? So we can get a little bit more aggressive at the end, but right now we're just going to use this little horseshoe, arch of the eyebrow to arch of the eyebrow. So we're not going too deep yet. I want to leave a few pieces in the front. And this is really not a clean section, but we'll pretend. How many times can I comb a piece of hair? There we go. I'm going to leave them just a little bit longer so we have room to work with. And I'm just cutting them straight today. I didn't twist. None of that business right now. We'll do that later. This is our length for her shag. So we're going to be a little bit more aggressive with her shag. Okay. So next section is just a middle section on the top. Oh my God, she is really arguing with me today. Do you need a bath? She needs a bath. We'll give her a little asset because she's my asset. Have you used asset astringent? Yeah, it's great. Sometimes people scalp issues, a little psoriasis or something. But I also like it to just refresh my doll head when she's arguing with me. Sarah has all these fancy doll heads, which I love them, but I'm afraid to buy those fancy doll heads and then have to cut all their hair off. Okay, see where that is dropping out? We're gonna start her top section just a little bit longer than that so that she doesn't have a flat top. Ladies like flat tops too. Okay, did I cut off all the strings? Look, I missed one. All right, so then we're gonna keep going around the horseshoe. So this section is going to come up about to the edge of where her bangs. So remember, we're cutting it just a little bit longer than her bangs. See, we can find our top section there. Go away, strings. Okay, one more section on the top here. Remember, our sections, we're going to the top of the occipital bone with our first section. Because we want to save some length on the bottom so we have fullness. Okay. You can see how it's starting to get a little stringier. Okay, we'll do this side. Stay, quit moving. So a little tiny horseshoe section surrounding the middle part. Pull it straight up, find my guide. Quit moving. She's got a lot to say. All right, so the top of the occipital bone. So there's a middle section that we cut, the first section straight up, and each section, there's two sections on the side that go straight up. It's like there's a vacuum in the room pulling the hair straight up towards the ceiling. You can see how that's getting pretty stringy. So it's a good thing we preserved some length. We cut to the top of the occipital bone. Oh yeah, see, it's a good thing I cut her bangs a little long too. Look at how they want to pop right up. Have you ever done that? Cut somebody's bangs too short? It's like, hey lady, I guess you're getting baby bangs today. Okay, let's section this out. Look, you need some more asset here. You know what you really need? All right, so we're gonna start working on the back. And this is where we blend our layers in. So we just basically cut our layers into section number 1. And now we're going to work on meeting section number 2 and 3 together. Okay, so this is the moment when I decide her length. And we're going to keep reasonably long. We're just going to bring the bottom down and see where she starts to get a little stringy. We're going to cut off the strings. We want a point cut because that keeps in line with the kind of textured haircut that we're doing. So a lot of times I teach to cut everything very straight and very blunt. But this haircut, because it's going to have so much movement, we want to make sure the ends have some movement too. All right. So now we're just going to connect top and the bottom. Let's start in the middle. So the very middle, just like Sarah showed with the nose, we're going to the middle of the back. Crown all the way down to the nape. About a 1-inch middle section. Let me turn her to the side so we can see it. I'm gonna grab all of this hair. So when I bring this up, the bottom falls out, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. We don't want to cut off the bottom. When I bring this up, I just keep pulling up until all of the bottom falls out, and then strings. You can barely see the strings. Can you see the strings? It's like a mustache. And then I'm going to point cut off the strings. Again, we want to keep the movement in her hair. So I'm going to do a pie section to the right. And it's okay, the bottom's falling out. There's the top right there. Just curving all the way up until all falls out, and then point cut off those strings. So she can have some pretty aggressive layers on the top when we use this method, because we're making sure we're blending the top to the bottom. There's the top. Here comes the bottom falling out. There's like 3 strings to cut off. Okay, let's move to the other. About a 1-inch section. Clips, what clips? So I'm gonna show you from this way. Got my bottom falling out, but that's okay. Remember, we want it to fall out. So let's find that top section. There it is. So comb, comb, comb. The top section's knuckle right here. Here goes the bottom section wanting to pull out. Look at all of these strings. Cut them off. Just hack it off. I'm one of those hack it off kind of hairstylists. Angles. They're fun and everything, but I don't know. Pull it up towards the ceiling. Pull it up to where the ceiling meets the wall. Ceiling would be 90. The wall is 45. But who has time for all that? Pull it towards your chin. That could be 92, depends on where you're cutting on the head. This is why I don't like the angles. It's subjective. Okay. There's the top. Here comes the bottom. Bye-bye. Cut it off. Pull this sucker up. Little strings on that section. So, you know, that's a section right behind the ear. So now we're not leaving any holes or gaps. You can see where that's really starting to get fluffy. All right, this is the fun part. And this is a new take on doing the face framing bits. So we're just going to work on this section. I've got a lot of things in my hands here. Let's body. I'm not used to wearing clips on my body anymore, right? Okay. We're going to take a 1-inch section from the fringe down to the ear. So it angles back a little bit. It's a diagonal back section, but you know, faces are kind of diagonal back. So a 1-inch section. And we're going to blend in from to the perimeter. Don't stab her in the eye. We're just going to tuck our scissors down and go ahead and cut into where you think the perimeter might be. See, we landed there, but this is nice and full. Look at all of that fullness next to her face. What's also going to happen is if she wants to wear her hair back away from her face, there's some great technique to push her hair back away from her face. So that's a nice full section there. And then what happens is we let these two meet. They met in a dark alley and now they're getting to know each other. So a little behind the ear and a little in front of the ear. Okay. So bringing the back and the front together. Come through, and there should just be a few strings to cut off. Same thing as we did in the back. Let the bottom drop out, and there's very little strings to cut off. So we should get a lightly angled, I guess it's a nice aggressive angle, but it's still full. There's no see-through here. All right, let's do the other side. Excited to show you the next haircut too. The razor bob. God, I have too many things again. Let's put that there. I'm gonna have to go give her a bath really quick before we do that. So fun fact, I left all my tools at the salon, and last night I'm talking to Sarah and I'm like, yeah, I need to get ready for today. And oh, go to the salon and get all my stuff, which is hilarious because I had cut my husband's hair earlier in the day. He gets like a clipper cut. He could shave his own head and be fine. But I said out loud, gosh, I wish I had my scissors with me so I could give our son a haircut right now. Still didn't grasp that. Pray for me, okay? All right, here we go. So same thing. We're just going to angle our scissors the other way. We're going to connect this corner with the perimeter. Try not to stab her in the eye. And we're just slowly open, close as we work our way down. So it's nice and full. But remember, this is also going to help if she wants to wear her hair away from her face. It's just going to help push the hair and hold it away from her face. Remember, short hair pushes long. So we've got some nice. Okay. Let's bring the front and the back together. A little in front of the ear. A little behind the ear. Do we still have people here, or did I scare everyone away? Okay, top section. There's the bottom section. And look, there are, on this side, I don't even know if you can see that. You see that? That's the only strings we have left marrying this side. I'm so glad I left that bottom section out and didn't cut into it. I'm so glad I only did the fringe first and then married those two bits together. Ooh, there goes my clip. Because now she still has hair. I mean, it's one thing if you crack off their hair when you're bleaching them, but we don't want to do that. Haircut. Just kick this hair out of the way down here. Okay, so she's got a lot of movement, some fun fringe that she can go any way. You can see all of this movement down there. And I mean, really simple shag. We love our shags. I am gonna go, that this is hilarious, but I am gonna get her a little bit more moist. if you will. So give me a hot second. If you've got any questions, just pop them into the chat right now. And Sarah will either answer those or I can answer them right when I get back. This will take me about 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, maybe 10. Did you time it? Was it 15 seconds? Everybody needed a pee break anyway, right? Okay. I just had to dunk her really quick. That was, oh, it was 30 seconds? Well, shoot. You know when you're doing planks and you're like, yeah, I've been doing my plank and oh yeah, it's been like a minute. I'm to a minute and it's been 11 seconds. I think that's just what happened to me just now. All right, let me grab my razor.
Kimberly, Jasmine has a really good question for you.
Oh, good.
She wants to know, do you determine the perimeter of the cup before or after the layers?
Jasmine, I determine the perimeter in my mind before, but we cut this top section, we cut that first, and then I cut the perimeter. You can definitely do the bangs and the perimeter or just cut off the bottom before you start. I like to get this in here because it's sort of a safety net. If I start to measure and I think it's not going to work out, we can always take this up an inch before she leaves with strings. Question. In my consultation and in my mind, we kind of know where her perimeter is, but in this explanation, I cut the top and then the perimeter, and then I married the two together. Just like we cut the face framing and then married these two together. Yeah, great question. I mean, hell, let's get realistic. I might cut it different, but this is how we're cutting it today. And this is how we're teaching it in this class. But do you ever do that? You're like, yeah, this is how I'm cutting your hair. And then she comes back to get her like touch up and you cut it a completely different way. Same haircut, you just do a different method. All right, so I'm gonna section this out. I've got my razor. And so this is like a part 2 to the haircut. This is your lady coming back. She had long hair like Sarah's models, and she was real sick of it, but she wanted to try out a few haircuts on the way to going shorter. So we gave her a shag. Now she's coming back in about 8 weeks for her next haircut because, you know, she was a long haired girl. So she's kind of low maintenance, 8 to 10 weeks. She comes back and she says, I want to go a little bit shorter today. So this is a way to go shorter while still having fun with her layers. And she might be a pixie next. This is her transition. So if I was to just cut this haircut, typically the person would already have some layers on the top, but I would go in and do all of the things that we just did, except for when we cut the perimeter, we are going to cut it this way instead of all the way down here. She's going to be about this length. And we definitely need her pretty wet to do the razor bob. I apologize for my lack of having my water bottle here. Okay, so this is kind of fun. This is an old school technique that's kind of reminded me about itself. So knife placement in Europe, they call it a knife razor placement, is very important. So we're going to take our cone. We've got our section, it's flat. So I don't have my hands like this. They're going to be like this. Okay. And then my razor comes flat on top of my hand. So my hands, again, they're like this, and my razor is going to be just like this. Razor against my fingers, pull it straight up towards the ceiling. It's going to cut off at more of a 45-degree angle, but we're working to pull straight up towards the ceiling. And don't worry, I'm going to get really in depth with this. Again, so comb, fingers are flat. Razor sits on top of our fingers. And we pull it straight up. I wanted to spin my scissors and realized I was holding a razor in my hand, even though I'm talking about the razor. Oh, Mama told me there would be days like this, right? And by the way, hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
Okay, so second section now. This is where the fun comes in. You can see where my section is kind of in there. So I'm going to start in the middle. Line up my section, pulling straight down. My fingers line up. So the bottom of my previous section, my guide, is touching the top of my fingers. I lay my razor in. My razor's flat, my fingers are flat, and I pull straight up. Fingers are flat. Razor's flat, straight up. Let me see. Is anyone? Oh, let's see. I don't understand technology as well as I probably would. So let's toes. I'm wearing sandals today because I live in Washington near Seattle. And I think it's like 48, and that's a balmy day all of a sudden. Aren't we so glad that winter's over? Was that the longest winter ever? I mean, I'm so ready. Everyone's ready. Okay, flat. Pull straight up. Now notice when I'm pulling up, but my razor is not shifting up. My hands are still flat like this while I'm pulling up. Yeah, are you busy? Is everyone getting busy again? Weird, when Sarah and I did this class in February, it was kind of like, yay, we're doing more education, we're filling our time. I mean, it wasn't like it was totally dead, but I had time, and now I feel like it's game on all of a sudden, and I don't even know what's going to happen when everyone comes out of the woodwork. Okay, we're going to keep going up. It's been nonstop since, yeah. I totally agree, but I don't know what happened. If it's like the stimulus or whatever, but all of a sudden it's like crazy. Did everyone move away? Fingers flat, razor flat, pulling straight up. All right, Mama took too big of a section. Hold on, let's clean that up. So what do you do if you take too big of a section? You just go back in, redo the whole thing. Cut off your strings in the same way. Don't move, lady, don't move. That's all you have to do is go back in. So this is going to have highly textured ends. The ends are going to be highly textured. And a great way to incorporate a shorter cut with all of these layers. We should be getting to a point where there's not a whole lot to cut off pretty soon. Let's keep working up the head. How's my time going? I'm like cruising by here. Oh yeah, we're doing great. So we're gonna keep lifting up. You know, another great option with the doll heads, because you know how they're like hard to wash. You're in a class and everybody's trying to wash them really quick. So what I've found is if I use 8 elixir on my doll head before I wash her, it gets off whatever it is that's on the doll head before we start. Have you all tested out 8 elixir? Yeah, it's a great waterless shampoo, non-foaming waterless shampoo. So, you know, our curly girls can use it to get rid of any buildup from hair products. It's great for the doll heads. You can even use it to get blood stains out of clothes. Ask me how I know that. Yeah, so it's a good way to prep your doll head. And then I like to show her one after that with 3-in-1. It's in our Fahrenheit 450 line. And it's a shampoo, conditioner, and smoothing agent all in one. And so that's kind of nice on the doll heads that tend to be a little bit on the rough side. Comb her down. There's like 2 strings left. Okay, how are we going to incorporate the front and the sides? I'm actually going to switch to some scissors. I originally was showing the razor cut in the front when we were practicing. Sarah's like, so why do you use the razor in the front and what's the purpose of it? And my answer was like, I don't know. So I realized that I actually prefer what it looks like when I cut the front with scissors. We're going to still do a point cutting technique. I'm just going to keep soft. Find my guide. So I still want her to have texture, but there tends to be a lot less hair in the front. Using scissors is going to help me make sure I maintain her fullness. And this lines right up with the face frame before. So we just incorporated the length from the back to the front of where her face framing ended before. And if I remember correctly, this side doesn't have as much hair. Ooh, but maybe it does. Maybe it was the other side. Snip, snip, snip. I'm gonna drop that down. Oh yeah, see 3 hairs right there to cut off. So that's a fun way to incorporate a shag and a bob. Remember, this is her. I really want to go short, but I had a shag first because I was tired of my long hair. So I know it's a wet doll, really. Come on, Kimberly. So I'll bring back the other doll heads. So I styled this one up, same haircut, same technique. I styled this one up kind of like how I would style my hair if I could actually grow it out long enough to have this haircut. I think it's pretty cute. I pulled a piece back. I tried to do some of Sarah's fun braid techniques on her. And I realized I needed to take the class again before I could do that on my little doll head. But this is the same haircut with the middle part and the longer fringe. So we didn't cut a short fringe on this doll when we first did her. And then I'm going to bring the shag back out. And this lady, she's seen better days because we have used her as demo for a little while. But this is the shag that we did. This is the haircut. So the shorter fringy pieces, the short bangs, and lots of texture and movement, but still some fullness on the bottom. Well, I feel like we just kind of whipped through everything today. Do we have any questions? No, no elephants are in my kitchen right now. Okay, I'm going to switch back over. Look at this. Oh, thanks. Yes, exactly, Jasmine. Exactly. Stimulus, taxes, springtime. I mean, so true. So true. Anything else? I'm still trying to figure out how to get, oh, there we go. Why razor up towards the ceiling? Okay, great question. That's how you cut it. So normally we've learned the row your boat razor. Let me grab my razor and my doll. No, not you, lady. Okay, so a couple things happen when you go razor up towards the ceiling. It bevels the hair under. So I'm pulling up like this, and it bevels the hair under as it cuts. So it can encourage the hair to actually cup under. Now, texture in this length and layers, a lot of times it's going to want to flip out. But this just adds that texture. So your client, like if she wants to blow dry her hair under, that's going to really encourage that. And then also it's a cleaner cut than the row your boat method. The row your boat method is going to have a ton of texture and movement. And this is more like a scissor version of the cut. Oh, I'm going to slam that into my face. But it cuts it very fast. It's a cleaner parting, cleaner cut. That's a great question. But you can see if I bring her up closer to you, how this kind of, it wants to encourage it to cup under just a little bit. I learned that in beauty school. And I remember the gal that taught me, I asked her, like, I've never seen this before. Obviously I was in beauty school, so I hadn't seen anything before. And she goes, how I learned to cut with the razor. So it's just interesting. Would you recommend this for wavy hair? Absolutely. That's a great technique for curly and wavy hair. I don't use the razor a ton on super textured hair, but for a wavy, swavy type hair, for sure, getting some movement. Even, you know, the larger ringlets, you can use it. It's a great method of a nice full perimeter. Plus, I like a lot of layers on wavy hair so they don't look like a triangle. Great question. So Sarah and I are trying to work on putting together a hands-on Zoom situation class. We definitely need to do a little bit more research on how the best way to instruct in getting via streaming. But, you know, raise your hand. Would you be interested in coming to an event like that? You want to stay on our list to come? Thanks, Jasmine. That'd be super fun. We really, Jane, okay, cool. That's awesome. Jane, I think you asked about the video for later. It's kind of a surprise. We weren't going to tell everybody this because we were the class, but we're going to put this up on YouTube, and then hopefully we'll get a good list of all of you that want to come to our hands-on class. We're planning, hoping, crossing our fingers to have it prepped by fall. So yeah, I know Sarah's super stoked on this. Teach us all how to use our pincher fingers or bunny ears. Oh my, any other questions? Did I miss anything in the chat? Raise her up towards the ceiling. Looks like, okay. All right, well, we want to thank you. Like, great, I need hands-on. Yeah, I know, I need hands-on too. And that's what I was thinking. I know that we can do this. It'll take a little bit more time. It'll be longer, have to be longer than 2 hours. Y'all are gonna have to turn on your cameras, but I know this, and I know we can do it together. So we'll definitely be getting back to you with more of that information. Here is our information. So if you want to be able to get a hold of us, we really want you to practice these techniques. Tag us when you put them on social media, because you know that's like how we all roll. But also, do you see at the bottom here? This is our personal connection, and we want to personally connect with you. So go ahead and send us out an email. We both have our professional emails as well. But this is a way to get a hold of us. You've got a question at 11:30 at night, it's burning in your brain. Just type it out. We'll answer. We love to. Sarah, thanks for putting that in the chat. And, you know, we hope that you loved every minute of today as much as we did. Sarah, do you want to say any closing words?
Thanks for showing up. We had so much fun. I mean, I think it would be so much fun to do this in a hands-on situation, even if it's virtual. I'm hoping someday we can actually be in person again soon. That's the best, but if we can get to a nice virtual hands-on class, I think that'll be fun. Random. When will the hairspray be in stock? I think this is a good question for Kimberly.
This is a great question. So hairspray is really hard to come by right now. So on getting the manufacturer to do the actual hairspray. I think if I understand correctly, there's only 3 places in the country that have a license to do hairspray. Aerosols are highly, highly regulated. So I don't have a good answer on that. Let's blow up Jared, okay? Jared@thermafuse.com. That's his email. Let's blow him up. If we all blow him up, we might get an answer. So I know that that's a clear answer, but it's an honest one. Yeah, I don't know. My Zoom just died on my computer. Good thing I made my phone the host. Thank you all so much for coming. You know how to get a hold of us. You're welcome, Jasmine. Jane, thanks for coming. We had a Michelle here earlier. I guess she's gone. Thank you all for coming. It was really, we've been having fun doing this together. Sarah and I have been team teaching together for a long time. And this was Sarah's little brainchild. And it kind of morphed into something a lot more than what we thought it was going to be. This is our second class we've done on Zoom together. We really like it, and we hope to see you again. Bye-bye.